Let's start with a poll question. What bothers you most? And you can answer yes to all of them.
Yes.
We're dealing with Andy Dalton, his play. We're dealing with 63 yards on the ground. We're dealing with nobody else helping A.J. Green at wide receiver. And we're dealing with the fact that Brian Hoyer beat the Bengals in his third overall start.
Brian Hoyer
I guess I'll let you start first.
Brian Hoyer didn't beat the Bengals. What bothers me is the fact that they are having a hard time running the football, and that seems to be a consistent theme that we have going. This is 4 games in. This is 4 games where they have not run the ball consistently well, and I'm not sure what the fix is because I'm not sure up front they're very good. I do like Gio Bernard, but if you have no holes to run behind, Brad, you're not going to run the football, and that's my fear with this team is they're going to have a hard time doing that all year long.
I'm surprised by your answer. Are you?
I'm in the yes, 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 and
yeah,
yes.
I am too. No, I'm not the Hoyer.
It was awful. I mean, everything about it was awful. But I mean, I guess I've defended Andy Dalton for a long time here. I think he's a good, fiery young quarterback. I think he's got good years in front of him. But this is ridiculous. And you got that many receivers to throw to. And I mean, how many touches did Eifert get? He should have got way more touches. You know, Gio's the only one that's consistent right now. AJ's getting frustrated. You can see it on every pass. You can just.
Is your answer then Andy Dalton now?
I think it's 1 and 3, but I think it's Andy Dalton. But I mean, just because I don't know if it's all Andy. I don't know if it's Jay Gruden.
But
I think they all should be embarrassed.
But if you can't run the ball, you can't do anything in the pass game in this league. You just can't.
But we're built to pass to set up our run, and right now we can't even pass. So when you can't pass, you can't run.
But you know what? There was a great shot today, and it showed it was a great wide shot, and they were manned up, and they had one single safety high. The Bengals at receiver don't win very often. AJ wins, but they don't win very often. So that's the other part of it. The receivers have a hard time winning one-on-one battles. I'm not sure the receiving core is that good.
But here's what I saw. I saw they had 22 and 23, and they were on pretty much on AJ the whole time. They had
Joe Hayden was
the
great.
whole
Joe
time.
Hayden was great.
At the same time, they kept getting a look where they had 21 Owens guarding AJ. They did it like 4 or 5 times. The first 2 or 3 times, we didn't even take it to AJ.
Yeah.
I'd be going mismatch right here, throw it right here. Nobody did anything.
42 times they threw the ball. And this is a team that's now continually turning the ball over more than their opponents, and they can't get the ball in the end zone. They're having to come back. There is no consistency on offense. Now, Andrew Whitworth said in the locker room, this is embarrassing. And we do things at pro football that you really can't do at the high school level. Do you agree?
Well, I would hope, and one of those things, though, again, is, I mean, they're not physical enough up front. They have a hard time doing little things, it looks like. And they make little mistakes at the worst time. They get a penalty at the worst time. They get a drop ball at the worst time. They get a bad read at the worst time. The funny part is, though, this seems like a disaster, like an 0-4 disaster. In this division, though, this is not as disastrous as it appears. I get why everybody's going crazy, because Cleveland's terrible. They're a bad football team. They're horrible. They won't win 5 games.
So you're telling Cincinnati and Minnesota that they've been beaten by a horrible
Well, let me just tell you, Minnesota's horrible, and Pittsburgh's worse than all of them.
I think the frustrating thing is that the NFL season is a sprint to 11 games. You get 11 games, you're in the playoffs. This team has already blown 2 games. We had Chicago on the ropes, didn't put them away. We should have crushed Cleveland, and we end up getting beat.
I'm telling you, Brian Hoyer, you may say Brian Hoyer didn't beat you. Brian Hoyer looked like a very good quarterback against this defense. Look,
he did do a nice job. I can't say he managed the game very nicely.
This is the first time in 11 years that a team has driven more than 90 yards on this defense. They did it twice.
Yeah, that being said, though, the last drive, there was a lot of runs involved that they did not do all game. They ran the ball on that.
So what?
I'm just telling you, but that wasn't Brian Hoyer. They did a good job on that drive running the football.
It's a quarterback managing how the team is going to go down the field. They did it twice.
Agreed, but before that drive, they had 23 yards in the second half. Before that drive that clinched the game, they had 23 whole yards.
Patriots come in next. So your thoughts on the Patriots?
I would guess that we should be in trouble based on today, but I think we'll play much better. I think we're playing better against the Packers, you know. So I got to be optimistic. I can't come back and say that we're going to be horrible, but I mean we should. If we play like today, we'll get run out.
It's a short week for the Patriots.
Yeah, New England's won with smoke and mirrors. They're not the New England Patriots that we all used to fear. It's a smoke and mirror football team. At home, you win this football game. Period. End of story.